People in their 40s, what's something people in their 20s don't realize is going to affect them when they age. Story 1: bad habits become harder to recover from and can lead to health problems the rest of your life, not just in catastrophic ways, but in little ways like bad joints or aches and pains. Stay mobile, stay healthy. Story 2: the benefits of working out. My father started regularly working out in his 40s. Nothing extreme, just consistent. He is now 87 and is still in great health. All of his doctors have credited the fact that he started regularly taking care of himself as the reason why he is doing so well. Now, the flip side of that, he has had to deal with a lot of loss, including my mother. Story 3: neglecting your dental health. Deciding to stop going to the dentist because you are no longer forced to by your family won't end well. Trust me, that was not a smart choice I made way back when, and it affected me for years after. Honestly, it could have been much worse for me. Story 4: some people are made of titanium, some people aren't. There's no way to know which is which. My friend's dad was a coke addict that's very healthy at 74, had a healthy runner friend have a heart attack at 35. Just because one person can binge drink and be healthy at 80 doesn't mean that you can. You won't know until it's too late. Story 5: lack of physical activity is a huge one. Just because you aren't overweight does not mean you don't need regular exercise. The benefits go far beyond weight loss. Exercise maintains the health of your bones and joints. It also maintains many of your internal organ systems, and currently we're learning that it even helps to maintain the telomeres on your chromosomes, effectively slowing down the aging process itself. Story 6: the families of their so. Even if your so is amazing, if their family culture is toxic, it is going to have a massive negative effect on your life. I know it sounds harsh, sad, but it should be a big portion of the decision to commit to someone. Story 7:1: starting to live healthy in your 20s will make a huge difference in your 40s too. Start using sun protection in your 20s, where your skin may noticeably be affected in your 40s. 3. Try to better yourself every day in your 20s to be proud of what you have become in your 40s. Story 8: if you're a woman, probably perimenopause. We collectively think of menopause as being the big deal, not realizing it's a process and not realizing it's an issue that often starts in our 40s. Story 9: genetics and health. My cholesterol skyrocketed. Once I hit 40, my diet didn't change. It was like a light switch. Some freakish mutant eyebrow hairs also decided to go big or go home. Story 10: drinking. Even drinking moderately 7 to 14 drinks per week, or 1 to 2 per night, literally degenerates your brain, thins your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making, communicating, regulating emotion, and other executive functions. Edit: to everyone telling me 7 to 14 drinks a week could not possibly be moderate. It is the medical standard in the U.S. My entire point was that even drinking amounts deemed moderate by medical professionals can still seriously damage your brain and body. Moderate doesn't mean a little, it means moderate. Story 11: IDK, how much this applies. But there comes a point in life, for many it's in their 40s, where you realize that stuff like being famous, building a legacy, being highly respected in your career, etc., doesn't matter at all. And when you get there, life becomes wonderful. You quit worrying about where you're going and start to enjoy what you have. It's hard to get there early, but at the least, you can look forward to it. Story 12: who you have children with. Buying a house. Can get out of it eventually. Marriage can get divorced. Moving together. Can always move home. Financial crisis. Budget, work on it. But kids, you're tied to that person you parent with forever. It truly is the most for better or worse situation, and people just breeze into it without thinking. Ought to be young and full, or hormones again. Story 13: all those old injuries you had in your life, the twisted knees, sprained or broken ankles, surgeries, etc. Yeah, you're probably going to feel those again at some point in your life. Oh, and the fun part is when you hurt yourself, and it takes longer to recover. My knees are toasted from so many injuries when I played sports, and the multiple back injuries I've keep getting worse and worse. Last year I sneezed and threw out my back and was laid up for 3 days. There's a way to counter this. If you work out, keep doing it. I stopped doing any real working out when I was in my late 20s. I'm sure had I continued, this might not pertain anymore. Story 14: the health, wealth, and mental stability of your parents, grandparents. Your 20s are generally that sweet spot where the people you love aren't dropping dead, going crazy, or going broke by the time you reach 40. The people you have always relied on may start relying on you instead. If you're lucky, you'll still have 2 parents in good health who can take care of themselves, but you may also find yourself spending your 30s taking care of sick, dying, or destitute family members. Also, wear sunscreen and be kind to your knees and your back. Baz Luhrmann wasn't just playing. Story 15: meaningful friendships become more selective, scarce, and precious. You need to actively maintain them. If you are fortunate enough to live into your 40s and beyond, you will age. Everyone does. It will not magically pass you by, or your partner for that matter. Choose a partner whose company you will enjoy as you go through the second half of life together, despite the way both your looks are changing. Story 16. Decent shoes with proper support. Nowadays, most workplaces have concrete floors with nothing to cushion your feet besides what you wear. Excessively wearing poor footwear can cause joint issues in your feet, knees, hips, and back. Story 17. Stress. Especially when you get to the age that you start to realize most of the you've worried about in life wasn't even worth worrying over. If it's causing you stress and you don't need it, walk away. What's meant to be in our lives will be one way or another. Story 18. Some of you will find out some stuff about your parents, what they did, what they didn't do when they should have. You will realize some of the you thought was completely normal is actually quite toxic. You may even discover your own abuse. If I were to ask 25 years old me about how disgusting my family is, I would argue that disgusting is way too harsh a word, but now disgusting is the least of it. I would start with that word and then elaborate. Story 19. Let me tell you about second puberty. Think you got all the hair you're going to think again and look at your back and ears and eyebrows. Thought you were done with growth spurts. Well, you're going to grow again, just out instead of up, and things are just going to start hurting for no reason. And you'll got a doctor and say, my knee hurts, and they'll say, yeah, that'll happen at your age. Try these PT exercises 3 times a day, and maybe ITLL stop. The biggest thing, though, is time. You just never have enough of it. Like, do I even have any hobbies anymore? When was the last time I exercised? What did I do with all my time? Being an adult takes a lot of my time and most of my energy. Story 20. Eating fast food at 2 a.m. when you're drunk is great in your 20s and your 40s. You feel like you're having a heart attack the next day and you're dealing with acid reflux for the next 3. Story 21. People in their 20s aren't prepared for the experience of having people younger than them claim that some experience was a foundational core of their generation when you had the same experience long before that. I'm in my 40s, and I get this all the time with millennials claiming they were there for the birth of the internet, and then go on to talk about sites like eBaum's World and Homestanner and MySpace. When people my age have been using the internet and making memes and getting in stupid arguments since before the web existed, it will happen to you. Your experiences will be discounted by younger generations because every generation thinks they invented the freaking wheel. Gen X is just as guilty of this as anyone before or after us too. So don't think I'm saying we're innocent. We like to think that our generation has a monopoly on being the disaffected generation, but try telling that to 50s beatniks. Story 22. Take your mental health seriously, dudes. Let your significant other feel their feelings. Don't try to problem solve for them. To quote my therapist, be a lighthouse. Give a light, but let the storm run its course. Also, learn to recognize your feelings. Be open about them. You'll be amazed how much smoother your relationships will be. Story 23. Quit drinking. The sooner you do it, the happier you will be and the better your life will be. Sunscreen, and blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and I've been doing it religiously and look younger than my peers by 10 to 15 years. Prioritize sleep. It's the best mental health supporter you can have. Your parents aren't going to be here forever, so the little things that get under your skin need to be brushed off. When they pass, you'll remember those moments when you lost patience and regret it horribly. Story 24. Ageism. Enjoy your youth because when you get older, companies won't hire you anymore. They can get someone younger and more desperate to do your job for half as much. Story 25. That you're on your own. One day you wake up and you're 40 and absolutely nobody gives about you. The earlier you can handle real life, the better. The earlier you can make hard decisions without checking with someone, the better. Everyone who says it goes by quick is not lying. One day you're the old guy in a room, and you need to be secure with being the leader because young people will look to you for answers. You need to have them. The earlier you can be comfortable having dependence in your life, the better. It's so seductive to think that your mentor or your boss or your favorite politician is going to figure out all of your problems for you and is looking out for your best interests. As you age, the clock ticks, and you're like, Jesus, I really need to make something happen here. Whether it's starting your family, committing to a skilled trade or job, committing to a house, or anything like that, the earlier you can make those commitments and feel comfortable with them, the better. Story 26. Don't get deployed on your second combat tour. Having no legs in your 40s really hampers your day-to-day. The TBIs, PTSD, concussions, spinal arthritis, and various other issues don't help either. I joined Pre-911 thinking I would just serve a few years and go get a civil service job. Whoops. Story 27. You're not Hercules or the world's strongest man. Do not lift heavy to show off or because you think it's easier or quicker than getting help or the right equipment. Back problems will show up, and they can never fix them to be like you were before. This especially applies at work. No amount of money job is worth being an invalid the rest of your life. Story 28, not starting saving your 20s. Seriously, put away as much of your paycheck as you can as early as you can, and you'll have a nice cushion in your 40s. Story 29, doing things in your young years has a big effect when you get older. What I mean by this, doing stupid stuff like throwing yourself off the top of a house to look cool, hurting yourself really badly has a big effect on you when you age. Spraining an ankle happens. Breaking your ankle because you saw something done by a professional and then thinking it's not going to affect me down the line as you age is idiotic. I hurt when the weather changes. My ankles are so weak I have to wear supporting boots to help me. My collarbone aches when I sleep wrong. Guess you have to go to work when joints ache so badly and do a 12-8 shift. No aches, no gain. Shut up. I'd rather feel good than crappy and hurting. Why did I do backyard wrestling when I was young and dumb? Yeah, the show and movie. No, that is what I'm calling my younger self if I ever time travel. I should have listened to my old man when I was young. He was a pool of wisdom. Your ability to heal is greatly reduced. What was a simple cut or scrape in your 20s now takes weeks to heal. Maybe longer. I used to think I had supernatural healing abilities in my youth. Turns out that is just what young bodies are capable of. Story 30, the slow drip of alcoholism. You might not be a binge drinker in your 20s, which, while good, doesn't mean you are in the clear. I was a binge drinker and kicked the habit in my early 30s and have been sober for 6 years. Now, we are all pushing 40, and the people I once drank with, who didn't really seem to have a problem because they didn't get super wasted, are now hitting me up for advice on how to quit. 2 glasses of wine a night out of your 20s and into your 30s doesn't seem like a big deal, but what I'm seeing is that it's turning into 3, then 4, then a bottle, and a couple mixed drinks, then 2 bottles, on and on. By the time they're realizing it's an issue, they are dependent, and the habit is so well established they don't know how to get rid of it. Think about it. Every night after work, you get home, have a drink, then another, then do that for 15 years, and all of a sudden this slow drip has turned into a waterfall. Story 31, people pleasing. Don't do things for others out of fear they will hate you. You have no control how anyone responds to you, rightly or wrongly. Running away from feelings. Don't do it. It will bite you harder and affect people you love, especially if you end up having children, getting fillers, and pumping your face full of. I see how naturally plump my face was when I was in my 20s, and while I miss being young, I'm actually okay with the fact my face tells a whole bunch of stories. But as mentioned before, we're sunscreen. Future you will be so glad, and that's probably why I feel fine with getting older. Story 32, neglecting your health. You should be doing constant maintenance on your body. If you don't take care of your vehicle, what happens? It breaks down. So will you if you don't take care of yourself? Start young and develop a consistent routine. I'm 50 now, and being in good shape has saved my life multiple times. I've had tons of surgeries between 21 and 49, including 6 brain surgeries, disc replacements, and cancer. You'd never know it if you met me. I still work out every day. At least I try to. Story 33, the health of your parents. Of course, everyone realizes their parents will age and start having medical issues. But when it happens, it can take some wild turns, especially if dementia happens in any way. You start missing someone who's still with you. Story 34, my 46M feet have insanely high arches. One day, out of nowhere, the ball in my foot started hurting real badly. I figured it was a bruise, but it didn't go away. So after a few months, I went to a podiatrist. He told me the pain is because my arches put extra stress on the of my feet. But doc, I tell him my feet have always been this way. He looks at me and says, you haven't always been 46. Story 35, not necessarily tied to the 40s, but generally happens around that time in life, the gradual deterioration and eventual loss of your parents, and you becoming the patriarch of your family. For some, the responsibility and grief is unbearable once this becomes reality. No one sort of above you remaining on the family tree. Story 36, I'll only speak for myself, since I am in my 40s. That fast food meal you get once in a while, smoking, vaping that day, of intense exercise you decided to do on a whim that night, of drinking and dancing, drinking alcohol, period, even just a couple beers. Not wearing supportive shoes, all-nighters, whether it's school or work, or plain neglecting your feelings, pushing it all down for the sake of getting through the day, week, or maintaining a relationship, being in the habit of spending instead of saving. Story 37, eating terrible food. Not using PP when you're working around products that you should be wearing it. This is everything from cleaning solvents to high particle environments. Even bleach in the bathroom. It's the continuous exposure over time that will get people. Number 1, though, eating terrible food and lack of exercise. Letting yourself go physically is terrible for your mental health, terrible for your physical health. It is the single worst life choice I can think of. Story 38, teeth. Take care of your mouth. Please, I'm 42 and about to get dentures. Due to childhood neglect and malnutrition, improper hygiene, and rampant drug use, your teeth are probably one of the most important things you have, and the worst when they start to decay fall out. Story 39, you are going to start waking up earlier and earlier in the morning, even if you don't want to, even if you went to bed late last night, even if you're trying to catch up on sleep. There isn't much you could do about this, so learn to embrace it and become productive in the morning. I used to hate waking up in the mornings, and now I've grown to enjoy it. Story 40, the cumulative stress from working a toxic job will wreck your body, ruin some of your relationships, and will make you regret the lost time for something that you shouldn't invest the time into. Story 41, the glorious 20s where you think you're invincible, partying all night and surviving on coffee and optimism. But let me tell you, as a seasoned 40-something, there are a few reality checks waiting for you. First off, those hangovers you brush off with a greasy breakfast. In your 40s, a Friday night out means you're bedridden until Tuesday. Your liver, and I have a good laugh about it over our kale smoothies. Speaking of food, remember eating an entire pizza at 2 a.m. without a second thought. Yeah, your metabolism will soon decide it's time to retire, and every calorie will cling to you like a needy ex. And let's talk about your back. Right now, you can sleep on a park bench and be fine. In your 40s, tying your shoes can send you an attraction. Oh, and sleep, you'll soon trade wild nights for the sweet, sweet embrace of a 9 p.m. bedtime. Naps become the highlight of your weekends. Fashion, enjoy those trendy clothes while you can. Comfort takes over, and suddenly those Crocs don't look so bad. Your taste buds will also pull a fast one on you. That hot sauce you love soon, a sniff will have you crying for milk. You'll start appreciating things like aged cheese, and brace yourself, vegetables, tech will outpace you, leaving you bewildered by the latest gadgets. You'll be that person asking a teenager how to work your holographic phone. Friendships will shift, too. Your massive social circle will shrink, but the friends who stick around will be the real MVPs. Mental health in your 20s, you feel invincible, but life throws curveballs, and having solid mental health practices will save you from a midlife crisis involving a sports car and questionable fashion choices. But hey race, the kicker wisdom trumps youth. In your 40s, you'll know yourself better, have clear goals, and the confidence to chase them without apology. So, live it up now, but sneak in some self-care. Future, you'll be eternally grateful. Cheers to the ride. Story 42, take care of your skin. Sun protection is essential, but also don't pick at blemishes. Use harsh cleansers, etc. Around 40, the minor scars become prominent and spider veins and such emerge. Story 43, how fast time actually goes, was told numerous times when I was in my 20s. Always said, yeah, whatever, well, here I am in my 40s, thinking where all those years went, so enjoy life. Don't rush things, stop and take it in, so time. Story 44, hard drugs weaken your body. Even with occasional use, you might not see any problems in your 20s from partying, binge drinking, and doing cocaine, but it will come back on you in your 40s and 50s. Story 45, they need to realize that they need to spend time with their parents now. I mean, right now. You will regret later you couldn't spend time with them. Learn things more and more, tougher jobs, internships, courses, or whatever you get. Join and learn. Later you will not be able to start learning. The skills you learn during this transition is what will define your working style and how much you make money in future. Health, and health. Take care of your health. Doing just gym is not healthy. Your food also matters. There are people like Zerota founder who have got heart attack even if they gone to gyms regularly. Story 46, all the stupid things you do in your 20s that you didn't take seriously, and all the stupid things you took too seriously in your 20s that turn out not to matter at all. Avoid short-term benefits with long-term consequences: drugs, tattoos, weird piercings. Take care of your teeth and hearing. Credit cards are a trap. Work is never a family. Save 50 a month no matter what. Story 47, take care of your body. I've been playing hockey for a long time, and in my 20s I D-bounced right back, which made me feel like I was invincible. I'm 41 now, and not only does recovery take a lot longer, but old injuries have come back to haunt me. Story 48, your back. Be kind to it. You don't realize all the ways in which it supports you until it's too late. Bending over, standing up, sitting, kneeling, twisting, pulling, bop it. Really, everyday life becomes the challenge. Story 49, take care of your teeth. Take care of your hearing, exercise, and make it a habit. You're expendable to all employers, which is crazy. Make your employer expendable. Life is all about collecting good memories. So feed that. Don't waste life sitting around on your phone, or playing video games, or binging TV. You'll remember none of those things in the end. Story 50, start working out. Seriously, you have to do a little every day. You have to lift weights 3x per week. You have to eat healthy, and you have to do cardio every day. If you don't, then you will have all manner of aches, pains, medical issues, etc. You will be tired all the time, have low energy, and even be anhedonic and prone to boredom more frequently. Furthermore, you'll slowly get fatter, and that will have all sorts of other problems. Nature doesn't care how much you like eating sweets. Nature doesn't care how much you didn't feel like working out. And nature certainly doesn't give two shits how many justifications you have for avoiding exercise and eating. Like, if you don't do these things, then you will have consequences. Do your exercises, just do them. Excuses and reason not to are irrelevant. You either exercise and eat right, or you suffer. Those are your two options. Story 51. I was in the best shape I'd ever been in when I was 40. Mind, body, spirits, and looks. I took great care of myself in my 30s, swam and ran. So 40s were good, as carried on into my 60s and soon 70. Story 52, of course, you want to save for retirement. However, don't be like so many older couples and singles I've met while on my travels. They spent their lives saving and saving, afraid to make any big purchases except for their home. It was only when they got old, they decided to finally spend on traveling. Sadly, they could not even enjoy it. It was difficult walking. They wanted to be in bed early. The heat cold affected them more. One American lady I met broke her hip and ended up in hospital in Italy for 2 weeks. Save, but also live your life, travel, eat great food, drink delicious wine, have adventures, buy things that bring you joy, take your family on trips, and enjoy the ride. Story 53. Visit the dentist regularly. Start using moisturizer, use sunscreen. Bad eating habits will catch up to you. Start exercising. It doesn't have to be excessive. Just start getting some healthy habits in. Story 54. One worrying about retirement 20 years in the future is 2000x more cumbersome than 40 years in the future. 2. You when you pee. 3 bad habits are incredibly hard to break the longer you hang on to them. For you in your sleep, and it will wake your partner spouse. 5. Your metabolism falls off the table, seemingly overnight. 6. You when you stand up from a chair. 7. Those 20 years younger than you say things like, I never had to use a real phone until I worked here. But something generational to you. 8. Did I mention all of the farting? 9. You randomly choke on your own saliva. Like, not while eating or drinking, you'll just be talking, and suddenly there's a ball of saliva in your throat, and you think you're going to die. 10. More farting. Story 55. Take care of your teeth. That means flossing. You'll regret it if you don't. Don't be sedentary. You were born to briefly inhabit the world, so actively get your fair slice of it. Save your money. Things aren't as cool as experiences. Be humble. Swallow your pride. ITLL, feed your soul. Keep the secrets you're told, and never badmouth behind someone's back. Even your enemies will recognize your character. Learn from the mistakes of others, and listen to the people that went before you. Read. Pay attention to what people do. Compare to what they say. ITLL, teach you who to trust. Be loyal, but never mistake or confuse loyalty for subservience. Do these things, and you'll find the truth in this last piece of advice. There's freedom and discipline. Story 56. To those young girls in their early 20s who think it's thrilling and funny to date and be in a relationship with a significantly older man, daddy issues. I get you. It's okay, sis. IT comes to a glaring halt. It gets downright gross. I've learned the hard way that couples are meant to grow old together. The aging process is meant to be shared. There's a shared empathy and compassion when we grow old together. Big age gaps reveal horrifying truths of aging that the younger person isn't prepared yet to experience, nor should they. A season for everything in due time, while the older person really ends up taking full advantage of their SO's youth and vitality, turning them into a caregiver far beyond their time. Daddy becomes grandpa in the blink of an eye, and you look over and see your man balancing a bowl of ice cream on his giant belly, moaning and groaning about every single new ache or pain like a little tiny girly baby. Story 57. When you're 20, you think that the 40 years old have already figured their lives out. It's a bullshit. They are as lost as before, if not even more. Conclusion: enjoy your life now. Story 58. Use your like it has an expiration date. And it does, like a rabbit, and never ever stop exercising, stress management, and conflict resolution skills. Learn them. Watch YouTube videos about them. Do what you could learn to stay rational when situations or other people are not. Story 59. Being obese. I spent most of my years fat. Then as I got older, I'm a lot more prone to chronic diseases like diabetes, gallbladder issues, liver issues, heart issues. Story 60. Everything you're doing now is incredibly embarrassing to old people now and to yourself later. This is why people always talk about younger people, because we all grow up to be smarter, or you didn't grow up at all. Story 61. Better to cancel the wedding than deal with the divorce. I've seen this with multiple friends. Compound interest is a powerful force. Save for the future while living in the present. Story 62. This was a fantastic idea. Here is my advice. Read all of the replies to this post. You're not going to be the same person in your 40s as you are now. You just aren't. No offense. The next you'd like to see these tips, please. Story 63. Basically anything that takes time. Learning a skill, gaining experience, advancing your career. It's only going to get harder. You're only going to feel tireder. Better to reap the reward of 20 years at 40 than 60. Story 64. Lack of free time. I used to have 6 hours a day to play games, hang out with friends, basically do nothing. Now I'm lucky to have 6 hours on a weekend to do what I want. When you're older, you aren't even going to care about doing anything in your limited free time, and games you once loved will feel like a chore. I tried playing a few older games I sunk hours into when I was younger, and I can barely make it past the first part of the game. I must have reset FF7 10 times by now. Story 65. Too much tanning, makeup, or those ear holes some people have. Everything looks fine when you're 20, but wait till you reach 40 or 50. You'll look much older than your actual age. Story 66. Posture, diet, physical fitness in general. Don't smoke pot every single day of your life. Don't drink more than once a week. Try for once a month. Try for never. Keep up with personal relationships, including your family, even if you have some issues. Don't be afraid to cut ties with people negatively affecting you. Advocate for yourself. Be kind to yourself. Take your time. Put the phone down. Go to sleep. Story 67. I'm 42 and look pretty good for my age. But part of that is because I have autism. Supposedly folks with autism have something in them that leads to more youthful skin or something. In reality, genetics is the one most important thing. By far, race also plays a big part in how youthful people look as they age. White people tend to age the most. Asian people tend to look very youthful, well into their 50s. Other than genetics and race, alcohol and smoking play a big part in how people age and look. When you see people who still look good in their 40s, they often don't drink much or don't drink at all, and they definitely don't smoke. If I was to give a younger person advice on looking young, I would say to limit drinking, drink plenty of water, don't smoke, wear sunscreen every day, and limit extended periods in the sun, and try to wear a hat if you're going to be in the sun all day. The other thing that really helps is being able to afford high-quality skin treatments like Halo Laser. That is what celebrities do, and it really does make a huge difference. Story 68. There is no magic time in the future when you'll feel like doing it if you don't feel like doing it now. Use it or lose it is real. Just ask all us old breakdancers about the day that we discovered that we couldn't do a jump up anymore. 40 is not old by any stretch, and you can't quite get that until you live it. At 20, our brains are still forming. Ladies, you really can look basically the same until mid-50s. That is why all that face yoga anti-aging stuff in videos never feature someone over 50. When I see comments like, OMG, you're 40, I'm like. Story 69. Be kind to the person you're going to be. Debt is not cool, nor is it a status symbol. It is a weight around your ankles. Save now, not later now. Drink more water, protect your teeth and ears. Call your parents. They miss you. Get some sleep. You'll be what you're eating now. So eat better now. Fewer sodas, more water. Again, be kind to the person you're going to be. Story 71. Wait from drinking and eating like 2. People you hang out with affect decisions you make. This includes prioritizing relationships over self-growth. 3. Saving early and letting the early investments work for years. 20 years of steady growth is better than no growth. 4. You do not know everything, and you aren't even close to having it figured out. Listen and learn from others. Story 71. Spending money on fun stuff because I deserved it in my mind has drastically reduced what I could save. My 401k would be 3 to 4 times as much if I had even been halfway frugal in my 20s. I spent my 30s paying off debt and my 20s and 30s barely adding to my 401k. Compound interest. If I had gotten roommates, shopped secondhand, I would be setting on enough to retire by 55. Story 72. Loneliness is no joke. Stop acting edgy and thinking you can live like a lone wolf. You will wake up one day and realize it's too late to make deep connections, and that will cripple your mental health. Story 73. Stay in the best shape you can. Don't waste your time with jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. Take care of your teeth and floss. Others beat me to it, but still it might seem impossible, but whatever decision you have to make it and don't look back. No regrets. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. The real troubles in your life are probably going to be things that never cross your mind, things that blindside you on some random day. Don't be reckless with other people's emotions. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. You're not as fat as you think you are. Maybe a case-by-case basis. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know what they wanted to do with theirs. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds Eve met still don't know what they want to do. Don't congratulate yourself too much or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance, so are everybody else's. Enjoy your body, but take care of it. Use it any way you can. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past, and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Friends come and go. Understand this. Bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle. The older you get, the more you need the people you knew when you were young. Accept certain inalienable trusts. Prices will rise. Politicians will up. You too will get old. And when that reality hits you, you'll fantasize about when you were young that prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. You cannot expect anyone else to support you. You might have a trust fund or a wealthy spouse, but you never know when either one might run out. No one owes you anything. You don't owe anyone anything. Story 74-1. Writing down goals and checking on them works. 2. Contact sports. Body keep score. 3. Clean room. Check pay stubs. Tidy your setup. This will eliminate lots of little problems you don't need. For get in the habit of admitting when you have no FING clue and asking for help until you understand. Most people are BSing a lot of the time. 5. Learning how to talk about your desires, wants, needs like they are valid and not a secret. This will make it easier for others to do the same. Story 75. If you eat healthy and exercise regularly, you'll be in better shape in your 40s than many people around you in their 20s. Aging does not automatically imply physical deterioration. Story 76. That people in their 20s think people in their 40s don't understand what they're going through. Sure, things change depending on political climate, economic, technology, but many of the struggles are the same, just painted different. We remember what it was like to struggle in our 20s. They can't know how they'll feel in their 40s. We lived through horrible historical events, and they were the product of boomers, so we can't be equated with them. I will say many people my age seem to lack empathy for younger generations, so some of the animosity we face is probably fair.